Hey, a myth is something that we've passed on through ages and traditions and generations and families, and very often a myth, not in the poetic sense of mythology, but a myth is something that's been passed on, we think of as fact, and we live our lives by it. It's a story that we hold, it's a belief that we hold. And some of these, most of them actually, are things that are limiting beliefs. So I want to break down five for you that over time I've learned about, broke down on my own, that are game changers. Here they are. One, it's okay to not know what your purpose is. It's okay to not know what you're supposed to do with your life. That's number one. That's a lifetime long evolving event. Some people figure out something that they love to do that's a passion very early on in life. And that's really great. And it might be evolving and changing later on. So let's go back to that and I'll tell you how to break through that. Number one, not knowing what your purpose is. Number two, changing your mind. This is a game changer when you find out that it's actually okay to change your mind midstream. Let's say you're going into doing, a certain type of work or job, and then midstream you realize that it's not what you love. You don't identify with it. It's not working for you. And then you can analyze later why you chose that. Maybe you chose it because it was a people pleasing thing, that was something that other people approved of, that people in your family wanted you to do, that gave you status, that gave you money, that gave you something that is no longer of value to you. It is okay to change your mind, no matter how big the impact is or how small the impact is. We can also change your mind very quickly. You can have hold an opinion about something and change your opinion later on in the day or the next day. So there's really no rules to it not being okay to change your mind. That is absolutely something that is a right of yours to think, have an opinion, or make a choice, and then it is okay to change your mind. That's myth number two. Number three, not living in the lines of what society has deemed is correct. Okay, so this one can get a little bit dicey, but there is pretty staunch societal rules on how we are to be identified, how we are to behave, how we are to act. And so very often those are very limiting beliefs that can really hold us into a very tight, constricted spot. I think recently, people are pushing back on that and changing their ideas of who they are and expressing those things, whether it's regarding gender or other societal rules. So not playing inside the societal rules, not coloring within the lines. It is your experience it is your right to have the experience of coloring outside the lines and discovering what's authentic to you. That's myth number three. Myth number four, there is an end goal that you have to reach. And the sooner that you reach the end goal, the better and the more successful you are. This is a really huge illusion. It's the process, it's the journey, it's the experience that you're having along the way. We get into the illusion that there's some end goal that we need to reach as rapidly as possible, and that everything in between that point A of choosing something and B, or let's say Z, discovering it, that is meaningless. And that's the part that is the most meaningful, is the piece in between the two. So that there is some end goal that we have to achieve quickly. And if you don't, then there's judgment about that. So it's really about making a choice and then going through the process of the journey to the end goal. That's the important part that we should focus on. Okay. Number five, that you cannot be all things and that you cannot have it all. This is another myth. So that you cannot be all things, that you cannot, society and mythology says that, to be, let's say, for example, a powerful, credible person, maybe you can't be funny, or maybe you can't be sexy, or maybe you can't be um, fill in the blank, right? So that you can't be all things, that you have to choose one piece, one dimension of who you are, and only assign yourself and show that one dimension. This is very limiting. It's another limiting belief. This is something that is, it just doesn't work. And so I would encourage you to express the entire full range of who you are. And the thing that you're most passionate about will be the thing that you'll give the most focus and energy, and that will develop, and that will become the main thing. People talk about, your niche, or what your purpose is, and then that becomes, the main thing. But you can also have all these other different dichotomies and pieces of you that you express, because that makes up the whole package, that makes you unique. And also that gives permission to others to be able to express their full selves as well. So, and that's really one of the most powerful things that you can do. So, and that you can't have all things. It's a very similar thing. So, sure, maybe it can't all happen all at once in linear time, but if you remove the linear time, you can experience all things. Okay, so those are the 5 myths that are passed down by generations that are needed to be dispelled, so that you can be free, that you can fully express yourself, and that you, most importantly, can just feel compassion and love for yourself. And then by being in that frequency, you can pass that on to others. So that's the most important part. Thanks for listening.